I know they say that love is rare. That's why you gotta grab it when it's near, when it's in the air. I just wanna make it clear. Whatever you wanna do, we can take it there. And I know they say that love is rare. That's why you gotta grab it when it's near, when it's in the air. It's so easy, never difficult. Still I keep it different, never typical. I ain't got a problem doing anything as long as it's reciprocal.
Boxing.
Beats and rhymes.
Boxing.
Beats and rhymes.
10th of August, Mandalay Bay. Virgil Ortiz will be fighting SERHI BARRIOS from the Ukraine. Appears to be a puncher. 23 knockouts, 24 wins, 1 loss. Virgil Ortiz, 21 wins, 21 inside the distance. Virgil, he can punch. I have to do a little scouting report on SERHI. Don't know much about him. I actually saw the Brian Mendoza fight. I actually did see that. That was a good fight. You know what I mean? 2 big punches. Could be a good fight. Should be a good fight. This would be for the WBC interim title. Now, I want to give the kid allowances for all the illnesses he's had, but, you know, he's choosing to take these interim titles. And I'm not a fan of Golden Boy. And this guy, Virgil Ortiz, is going to fight for an interim title. And in the interview, all he's talking about is Ryan Garcia, about they fought twice in the amateurs. And he's up for a Ryan Garcia fight. Ryan Garcia is suspended. He's unreliable. He's unpredictable. He himself says he has a mental condition. He himself says it, not me. And this is who you're talking about a potential fight with. But he said he's not focused on that. He's focused on the Ukrainian. Well, you better be.
Oh, we get along with Emily. We better be.
No way did I hear I'm looking to target the winner of Madrimov versus Crawford. I didn't hear that anywhere. And that's the problem with Golden Boy fighters. It's always suspect how they flex. The WBO already sold out this guy that he turned down a shot at Crawford at 147. The president, Pacquiao, WBO president Pacquiao, sold him out. Some of them had the nerve to say it was Terrence who didn't want the fight. But Virgil's exciting. He throws 1,000,000 punches around, broke CompuBox records. Listen, them fighters are bad. Yeah, they're bad. But they're bad when there's no real bad man about.
Boxing.
Beats and rhymes.
Boxing.
Beats and rhymes.
Then we got old Manny Pacquiao fighting Mario Barrios for a 147-pound belt. How does he qualify to fight for a world title? You know what I mean? Boots can't get a decent opponent. But then again, his old man ducked Terence Crawford, saying that he's loyal to Showtime, who aren't even in business right now. At the time, the BOK Prime money was long. The only person who took it was David Avanesian. It's ridiculous. Listen, Boots, glad he's on the zone. I'm glad he's doing better. But he deserves a lot of the issues he's going to have in terms of getting decent opposition. But there's not much Eddie can do. If Boots and his dad had did their job properly, they wouldn't need Eddie Hearn. You know, they've got Karen Chakatsian, who he's fought already. Wasn't a great fight to watch. Karen was on the move the whole fight, didn't really engage. Don't want to see that again. He's ranked number 1. Is he next for Boots? Is this what Eddie's got to work with? You know? You got Cody Crowley, and number 3. He pulled out so David Avanesian could take his place the week gone. Errol Spence at number 4. Errol Spence shouldn't be allowed to fight nobody right now. You know what I mean? Errol Spence, been out the ring over a year, still ranked. Paddy Donovan at 6. Is he fighting Croker next? I don't know. Don't think he's ready yet. So it's slim pickings. I don't know if the Crawford train is gone. He's moving up to 154. Turkey Al-Sheikh apparently spoke to Boots and wouldn't mind seeing him do that fight. I think Boots would have to move up. I think that fight would have to be at 154. But then again, if Terrence can get that Canelo fight, that's where he's going to go. He's going to go after Canelo. That's career defining right there. They mentioned Blair Cobbs on the Boxing Voice because he might be able to be an interesting character, talking his egocentric babble. I don't know if that's a good selling point. It might be a good selling point in America, but the rest of the world ain't checking for that fight. And he's not ranked in the IBF top 15. Boots probably be better off fighting Broner, who Cobbs just beat, if he wants popularity. You know I'm bugging, right? You know I didn't mean that. What Boots better watch for is holding on to that strap just for the sake of holding on to a world title when his body is telling him perhaps it's time to move up. But he'll know when that time is more than I will. And you better time it just right. No overstays welcome at 147. You know, the PBC barely got any dates on Amazon Prime. You'd think they'd be a little more selective with the fights and events they put on the calendar. And then they bring back Manny Pacquiao. Maybe they're expecting a flashback to the days when Pacquiao could do some numbers on the pay-per-view. Pure desperation. But lousy boxing promotion. Stefan Espinoza must be hoping that our attention spans are so short that we forgot. The last time he was in the ring, he lost to a Cuban welterweight and was quite frankly washed on the scorecards. And you're bringing him back for a world title fight. It's taking your customer base for idiots. Literally.
Boxing.
Beats and rhymes.
Boxing.
Beats and rhymes.
It was late March when Fabio Wardley and Frazier Clark fought to a draw for the British heavyweight title. Around this time, Adam Azim vacated his European title to avoid his mandatory Dalton Smith. He also turned down his mandatory shot at Dalton Smith's British title at 140. Now, we all knew the game. But instead of just conceding a duck and move on, Ben Shalom came up with the Harlem Eubank Adam Azim fight. Brought both men to the ring. Brought Chris Eubank Sr. in there. Barry McGuigan was up in there. We had it planned all along. Well, 3 months on, what's happened with that fight? Haven't heard a thing. Shouldn't be doing fake advertisement as damage control. How is that acceptable? If you duck, you duck. I think it would be better sometimes if fighters just admit we're ducking the fight than all this. I think a lot of boxing fans would say, well, they said they weren't ready. Can't have a go at them no more. They said they're not ready. But when you do all this elaborate, bring fighters to the ring, bring British ring legends to the ring, McGuigan and Senior, and got the crowd cheering, building up people's hopes they're going to see the fight. You know, a lot of these people, promoters, management, networks, they're very arrogant. And they think people are stupid. Like, the PBC are really putting stock that people are just going to be grateful to see Manny Pacquiao and forget that he's 45 years of age. And the last time we saw him, 3 years back, he got washed on the scorecards by a Cuban welterweight who every time he stepped up against Porter and Spence came up short. Not to mention the Cuban who washed Manny, fought recently against Barrios, who Manny's fighting, and got stopped. And Ben Shalom, I guess, is hoping that everybody forgot that he made this grand announcement that Harlem Eubank is going to be challenging Adam Azim, not for the European title, because he gave that up to duck Dalton Smith. Time don't make it disappear. Receipts will still be pulled up. To be fair on Chris Eubank Sr., he did a good job with his son. A lot of people may argue that, but he did a good job. Eubank Jr. is one of the most sought after fighters in the country, and he's never won a world title. But it's kind of like trying to catch lightning in a bottle, that he could do the same job for Harlem Eubank. And at this stage, Chris has burnt a lot of bridges with all the top promoters. Like, Chris Jr.'s went through the whole promotional roster. He's now with Ben Shalom. There was no way Chris Sr. was going to get a Conor Benn fight for Harlem Eubank. It was never going to happen. And there he was, so confident he was going to get that fight. Now he's got involved in this Adam Azim fight. Well, what's happening with that? And where's the promotion? Chris was with Harlem all the time. Now Harlem is not on the radar. He's signed with the Sowlands, fights here and there on Channel 5, but doesn't have a big profile. Probably not a bag of laughs for the Sowlands to have to deal with Chris Sr. either. Both Sr. and Jr. are still hurting over the loss of their brother Sebastian. Then Harlem lost his dad, Simon Eubank, who used to box as a pro. The other brother, Peter Eubank, actually beat Barry McGuigan early in Barry's pro career. You know, Senior's calling Harlem his son after Simon died, and I was wondering, is he trying to get back at Chris, saying, this is my son now? Because it's not fair on Harlem if you're playing games with your son with Harlem's career. It's not a good look. Harlem needs the promotion. And then Chris told Senior to leave camp. A lot of people are saying that Senior's behaviour has been bizarre on camera. And of course you empathise with his situation, with his son. But this is Harlem's career. My final thought on the whole Adam Azim Harlem Eubank fake fight is, I wonder if Eubank and Harlem and Adam Azim are all in on the con. Maybe Ben's gave them some kind of financial incentive to throw everyone off the trail of the Dalton Smith fight. How do you announce a fight and then 3 months later we hear nothing at all? I haven't heard Harlem asking for the fight or Senior asking for the fight. Why not?
Boxing.
Beats and rhymes.
Boxing.
Beats and rhymes.
So Zioxin Zhang, not the heavyweight, Zhang. He was stopped in 4 rounds by Muslim Gadzhimagomedov. He is now the WBA Bridgerweight champion. Lawrence Okoli is the WBC Bridgerweight champion. Now, he's now 4-0, 3-sided distance. BoxRec do not recognize the Bridgerweight division. They don't recognize the fight. Now, how good is Muslim with the long surname? I don't know. You'd have to argue the Bridgerweight gene pool cannot be that thick if he can win the belt, the WBA belt, in 4 fights. Lucas Rozansky was turned over by Lawrence Okoli in a round, and he looked pretty limited for someone looking to be recognized as a world champion. Fair enough. But with 2 sanctioning bodies behind the concept now, probably a matter of time before the IBF and WBO get behind it and recognize it as well as a legit weight class. When you go down to the lower weights, from minimum weight to superfly, how much weight classes are cramped into a small weight scale? 4 weight classes within a 10-pound weight scale? That's crazy. I don't see nobody cancelling none of their divisions out. Not recommending they should either. But if you're going to go for that, well, it's different for the small guys. I remember watching boxing when it wasn't that congested down there. So it's hard to sell it to me when I was watching boxing, when it wasn't that congested in the lower weights. Boxing is not going back to traditional 8 weight classes. It's not going back there. A lot of the old school practices were made in a different time. There wasn't so much television networks, so much TV channels, so much streaming apps as there are now. There is a need for boxing. There is a need for people to want to watch title fights. You know, people want to see a belt in the ring. It is what it is. It's been like that since the 80s. You know what I mean? When Barry McGuigan fought Juan Laporte, the fight just before he fought for the world title, there was no straps on the line or nothing. And millions of people used to view McGuigan's fights. Nobody cared if there was a strap. But, you know, things changed. When the game started transitioning from terrestrial into Sky, every fight needed an international, intercontinental, something. Commercial market forces, right? You got Misfits now on DAZN, all these different events, all these influencers, MMA fighters crossing over. It's changed now. Now, Muslim Gadzhimagomedov, can't pronounce that name. It's very long name. Abbreviations are needed just for commercial purposes. I didn't even know that fight was happening. It's been a few days now. But are people pretending they didn't watch Babbage versus Rozansky or Rozansky versus Lawrence Okoli? It's not like people are boycotting the fights. So if people ain't boycotting the fights, why are BoxRec not registering them and logging them down so people can keep records? I don't see the point of not recognizing Bridgerweight at this point. I don't understand it. What, are the fighters doing less training than the fighters doing the other weight classes? Are they sacrificing less blood, sweat and tears? No. I mean, the first Bridgerweight fight between Rivas and a Canadian guy was savage. It was a great fight. His name was Ryan Riziki. Not that I can go to BoxRec and find that all out no more, because they are trying to eliminate all Bridgerweight history. Although they're not being consistent. Zhang, who was knocked out by a Muslim for the WBA title, he fought an eliminator against Evgeny Romanov. Great fight. And they've got that on BoxRec. They've acknowledged that fight as a heavyweight fight, but not a Bridgerweight fight. All it's going to do is basically put gaps in people's records, because people are reliant on BoxRec, right? I use BoxRec a lot. How do you acknowledge the eliminator, which Zhang won, but don't acknowledge the world title fight he took part in? All these boxing websites, they often showcase the sanctioning body's rankings, but they omit the Bridgerweight division, a lot of them. What purpose is this serving? Pretending that the Bridgerweight division isn't there. Especially now 2 sanctioned bodies are on board.
Boxing.
Beats and rhymes.
Boxing.
Beats and rhymes.
154-pound eliminator going to Australia. Tzsyu versus Ericson Lubin. That's for Bakram Matazeliev's belt, IBF. So, Tim returns to the ring in September after that ghastly cut he endured against Sebastian Fundora when he lost his WBO title. Tim had to cancel a fight that was proposed to be on the Crawford-Madrimov bill, I believe, because that cut hadn't healed. And I mean, he was gushing blood, bro. Should the corner have stopped it? I think they should have stopped it. I think it was stupid letting him carry on with that cut. Absolutely ridiculous decision. Why are you letting that man bleed like that? Because he's a soldier. He's a soldier. Stop it, man. Stop it. Fix that cut up and let him come back. It was a freak cut in a freak place. It didn't suggest quitting if you pulled him out. There are limits to how much bravery a fighter has to prove to the fan base or the media. Now, Ericson Lubin, a little bit of an underachiever from what was expected from him, from a lot of American boxing fans. And in 2022, he was destroyed by Mel Charlo 7 years ago in a WBC super welterweight title fight. 1 round destroyed. I remember waking up and watching it. I was like, whoa. Then the Fundora fight for the WBC interim belt. His face just started lumping up in it, like a bit puzzling actually. Like, why is his face lumping up like that against Fundora? There were suspicions of tampered gloves, but I've got nothing to substantiate that. He was down once. I think he had Fundora down as well, and he was stopped. He does have some athletic ability though, and he can fight. I'm not sure if he has the best chin, but then again, I'm not sure if we've not seen the best of Tzsyu right now. Good to see Lubin prepared to travel for his opportunity, because what else is out there for him? What else is out there? He has to go for this opportunity. He's still PBC affiliated. He's probably just glad to get some work, even if they have to outsource it to Australia, because they ain't really doing too much American dates. Tzsyu stoppage within 10 is what I predict.
I just wanna make it clear. Whatever you wanna do, we can take it there. And I know they say that love is rare. That's why you gotta grab it when it's near, when it's in the air. I just wanna make it clear. Whatever you wanna do, we can take it there. And I know they say that love is rare. That's why you gotta grab it when it's near, when it's in the air. It's so easy, never difficult. Still I keep it different, never typical. I ain't got a problem doing anything as long as it's reciprocal. I ain't just talking about the physical. I just love your company and I ain't even miserable. We can catch a movie or some comedy, or just look at the stars and wonder about astronomy. Talk about the economy. Tell me exactly why you finding me. Do you believe in fate? Are we right where we designed to be? The implications are so mind-blowing. When we together, always wonder where the time's going. Time flies when you having fun. You said you shouldn't take another drink, but you having one. Both of your hands off, I'm just grabbing one baggage. You ain't dragging none, you must too fly to stab and run. What they call a flashback, I'm having one. It's all true exaggeration, I ain't adding none. I just wanna make it clear. Whatever you wanna do, we can take it there. And I know they say that love is rare. That's why you gotta grab it when it's near, when it's in the air. I just wanna make it clear. Whatever you wanna do, we can take it there. And I know they say that love is rare. That's why you gotta grab it when it's near, when it's in the air. When the rain falls, I'm reminiscing. I wonder why was the connection. Need some assistance. It's your existence that make loneliness seem so distant. You like a cross to a Christian. When I put you on my chest and let you rest there. Ozone layer thin, you a breath of fresh air. Wanna lay back in it like my desk chair, or just slide into it like a fresh pair of suede loafers with the penny holder. You ain't gotta try to win me over. Come to think about it, probably had me one since day one. Knew I was coming at you, but you tried to play dumb. Guess that was stage one. Now we on a level like out of this world space shuttle flight, but so simple like a pedal bite. Your smile is like the last slice of light on the horizon, or the first glimmer when it's rising. I just wanna make it clear. Whatever you wanna do, we can take it there. And I know they say that love is rare. That's why you gotta grow